Um, I thought I'd take the time to put this information into the motherboard using a public outlet. You know what an outlet is, right? When you put a plug in. Um, and so it's one of the reasons, like, for example, if I do a particular video, I might put it up on my Facebook page. I might not. Some do, some don't, most don't. Some I'll put in certain windows of my friends. I won't put them in others. Why is that? Reading records, which basically means is identifying the operator of the vehicle, of the motherboard. It's on the motherboard, okay? On every level. When you're a monopole, that's fairly easy to do. Because any resistance I experience in me is the resistance I'm experiencing in you. And that is doing what? Reading the core vibration of the identity. By virtue of the DNA. It's represented by the operating system, which is represented by the consciousness that is imprinted into that operating system, and the methods and by which they communicate, the language that they do, in order to impart what? Hypertext protocols based on bioplasma circulation libraries held within memory, right? So you can see how the time looping, because you have access to the records. Who's looping, who's not looping, right? Which is cross-indexing, alphanumerical formatting, because numbers are energy, which basically is reading the identity of the domain box that they occupy based on who they are in the multiverse. Okay? Because it began with a one and I'm one. That's eternity. So anything that is less than what that is easy to read by virtue of the method and manner in which they communicate what they've learned through experience, what they share with others. Okay? So what I do is I monitor a lot of different stations. Some I'll monitor for a week, maybe up to a month. For example, I don't monitor Fox Sports Media anymore. What I'm doing is the changes in the alphanumeric formatting, or if you will, the sonic tones that are coming out of the voices that are communicating with us via green screen. Okay? So there's a lot of things that I observe that I thus become aware of as a result of doing what? Matching the language of DNA, which is the communication of the being on the branch in which it's represented. Home star systems, home worlds. So one of the things that I've had the great blessing and gift to be able to do, it was a lot easier when I was growing up as a child to essentially, when you're a motherboard operator, to experience a level of density resistance that you're experiencing because you're an eternal being, because you're a monopole. So you're measuring, as I mentioned before, the planetary consciousness terrain or the software terrain. Okay, by virtue of all the terminals that are connected to each other that represent the RAM. What's held in memory by virtue of future, past, back to the future. So you realize you're running on a time clock that keeps, which is the hamster wheel, which is the black hole stuff, black hole entities. It's like I've said before, you're going 2 steps forward and all of the next thing you know, you lost 3 steps. And you can measure that over time-space vectors, over whatever time period you want to measure. Because it's a measurement of lines of communication that are communicating with each other, what the communicators are experiencing by virtue of what they're experiencing, and thus communicating with other terminals through all the antennas, which is based on what? The vibration and frequencies of communication that's taking place across the entire planetary spectrum. Right? So you can measure the success we're having by measuring what? The incremental increases in the amount of photons that are experiencing more light, which means the spirit that is in that light is now experiencing more light, and that light with that spirit is waking the soul up to come out of the cobwebs, and cobwebs as web, as a worldwide DARPA, right? rolled out their ARPANET. The whole consciousness traps, which are soul consciousness traps, which are the Maze Runners, which are the Blade Runners, which is the cybernetic, the whole architecture, in which it's integrated with finite light. And that's why they operate on timelines. Right? As a result of what? Fractures. A fractal light virus. Because anytime that you're not experiencing eternity, which is the loss of energy, which means it's less than pure, which is pure fire, right? Then you're experiencing a loss of speed. When you're experiencing a loss of speed, the clocks don't zero out on both sides of the magnets, which is the eternal flow, the end flow, the eternal end flow, which means there's zero resistance to experience the purity of light, which is the purity of love, which is on fire. See? So without naming names, there are a few channels that have a number of subscribers. And so I'm just going to give you an example, okay? When somebody put up a video that said, Men in Black, we're in trouble. They know we're in trouble. We're, meaning we, are in trouble. And the word trouble was capitalized, bold. Okay? Now, why would somebody choose to put we're in trouble? Does that sound like a mother or a father to you that says, listen, relax, we got this, right? Love is going to protect you. Love is going to care for you. You don't have anything to worry. Is that the message that's being sent on the title of that video? No. Now, what you can also do is you can go to Project Ascension with Patty Broussard and my clan mother, Karen Ann Luke McDonald, right? And you can learn who the tall whites are, which are known as the Men in Black. And Patty will show you the work that they do, right? Now, here's another little caveat to this. This was stuff that Patty released to everybody else through my clan mother and or with my clan mother and Andrew on Project Ascension, Andrew Mallet on Project Ascension, right? Patty showed the picture of the tall whites, okay? And so I've never met one directly that I can remember, but that doesn't mean anything. When you're a monopole, it means that I can burn off anything that I choose not to experience, because when you're experiencing eternal unconditional love, I'm not supposed to experience anything less than that. So if I'm experiencing something that's less than what that is, then it's less than what I am as the one. So now you know the difference between one and the other, which is back to knowing what love is and what love isn't by virtue of the experience. So now I'm experiencing what others are communicating, right? And by virtue of what they're communicating, does it represent what love is? Okay? So here you have a whole lot of folks that I'm aware of by the other channels that about keep your vibration up. Here are some ways in which you can heal yourself and all this. And then you have other people that are like Pied Pipers. Okay? Look at this information. Look at this information. Look at this piece. It's almost as if you're walking into a library and you're clueless. Okay? And you're curious. There's a lot of changes that are going on. I want to know what's going on. I want to know what's going on because I don't know what's going on. I am lost in the space arc spheres, right? I need help trying to figure out what the hell's going on around here because my soul and spirit is not informing me to my heart and soul. So I need help trying to figure out me. Is that what it is? Well, I don't know. You tell me. Because when I was 4 years of age, it's like, please. Now we're back to identity. What are you? Remember? You could have asked me when I was 4 years old. I am what love is. What are you? Love is a vibration. Okay? I'm connected to Godspeed. I got a connection to God. Okay? Which means I serve God. That's what a server is. I serve as a God, the Godspeed server. Oh, the Godspeed server. Yeah, the Godspeed server. I experience a Godspeed vibration. Brrrr. That's called a blast furnace. And the intensity of that really goes up. You ever heard of pouring gasoline on the fire? Right? Fuel it, get it really lit. Well, then all you got to do is surrender to yourself. Right? Now you can join and be mated with a flower. Whoa. Yeah. Now you're running a hotter blast furnace. That's why you need so much water. Right? And the relationship between water molecules and thermal gradients. Right? Okay, so I have a lot of fun with this sometimes, but it's actually, in some ways, not painful per se, because you realize that, hey, these folks are on their journey, right? And you realize at some point in time, just as it did with me, right? It's what you call coming full circle, and that's a circle is a circuit, the completion of a circuit, a magnetic circuit. So you realize, hey, I'm running a motherboard. Right? So you got any bugs in your motherboard? It's preventing you from experiencing full cosmic level antenna. Burn through all your circuits. Now you're experiencing more light. Now you're experiencing more love. You've restored your spirit. Your spirit is in the light. Your soul is, whoa. Yeah. I know what's happening. I'm experiencing the energy. Man, what a shift. There's some good stuff. Boy, is this energy going up. That means you're being informed of what's here. More light is here. So if you're experiencing more light, you realize, hey, I'm healing, I'm loving this energy, and you're feeling better. And so you're getting through all the things that have been held in memory that didn't serve us, for which we were losing energy. All right? So whenever I see what I consider to be fear-based communication, because when somebody says, hey, we're in trouble, this is how I used to do this whenever I ran around people like that when I was about 17 years of age. I'll tell you what, you know what, you want to ride on my fire engine? I'll even put you up front with me and I'll drive the fire engine, okay? No. You're not in fear of fire, are you? You got any fire in you? You want to go communicate with the spirit of fire? You want to go out there and be with the fires out there? And communicate with all the elementals that are in you, right? You want to communicate in spirit to all the spirits out there in the forest when there's a forest fire going on. Have the highest level of situational awareness. That means that everybody that you're with that's going out there to put some water on this is all going to come home safe. I can assure you of that. Because of the relationship that we have with the great living spirit of Mother Earth. Because there's a spirit of fire in me. Living spirit in the water, living spirit in the earth, living spirit in all the elementals, living spirit of the wind. We work in harmony with all those spirits, which are in all that energy, in order to experience calm. Calm waters, baby, the water worlds. So I know what an idiot light is. That's what's called a trouble light. Ask anybody at AutoZone what a trouble light is. That's a bug in the AI, isn't it? Yeah, that's a bug in the AI. Or a bug in your motherboard, right? A glitch. A glitch in the matrix. Remember a glitch in the matrix? So when she says, we're in trouble, my first response is, no, I think you're in trouble. Because if you're experiencing trouble and you're in a state of fear, then is that called self-accountability? There's something that you realize that you did by virtue of the pathway that you chose to be on. Chosen. There's only one pathway. There's only one pathway. Okay? And that one pathway is no time. Because we're experiencing eternal, unconditional love that goes on forever, gifting you energy so that you thrive and experience your parents lit on fire from which you came. So you can experience what love is from whence you came, because it began with what love is. That's what the one is, an infinite love vibration. So when you are experiencing what love is, then you are experiencing what love is. And love is the absence of fear, which is the absence of a trouble light. So this is one of the ways in which it's like asking questions. You know what a call out is, right? A C and then an A, the all creation, C, A, B, C, 3, right? So it's like 1 and 3, 3 and 1 call you out, like 5150 to headquarters, right? So I pose a question, call you out. What's your home star system? What's your home world? Right? Now, I asked a guy down here at the Hilo terminal, and he couldn't tell me. I've just always been self-aware. Okay, I can see that because you're communicating to me what you're aware of, and I'm aware of what you are. Now we're back into home base. Who's on first? Or what's on second? Who's on third? This is one of the reasons why, how you can sort of tell the difference in communication methodologies, methods to the madness, how you can sort of tell the difference in communication, for example, and people that communicate openly on a public forum way and then provide their name. Some will provide their bloodline, okay? Blood and water, right? Where their home world is, like folks that say, like a girl that I met over on Highway 99 at a campground in, where was that, Mama? That was Panther Flat. I met her in Panther Flat campground right before you get into the Redwoods. And this would have been almost a year ago. I ran into her when it was raining, sort of cats and dogs along the Smith River, which is very powerful country to hang out in, particularly in the spring. Because you can get some of these places before they're overrun, by settlers, what my old hotshot foreman used to call pilgrims, flatlanders. I give love to all creation. But there were certain terminologies because, hey, they live in the flatland. We live up in the highlands. Highlander, remember Highlander? The sequel of Highlander? And there is a caveat in that. But anyway, so here I am camped out by myself with a tent, right? And all of a sudden one night, here comes this girl by herself, right? And she hopped out of her car and got to talk to her after a couple of minutes. She says, I'm a Palladian. Well, where are you going? Right? And she says, well, I'm headed northbound, she was going to head up into Washington State. She's on a journey of self-discovery, right? So she was feeling a lot like how people, it's like you realize the changes that are occurring, and it's like letting go of those things that you don't want to experience anymore, that were holding you captive, that do not serve you. So you're letting go, and that's called letting it go. Those things that you've been held captive, which are called attachments. So we're connected to everything, right, on our motherboard, right? But we're no longer allowing ourselves, our energy, to be used in which we're held captive to an energy harvesting system, which is based on phantom timelines, which is finite light, which is their QI. Temporary space, which means living on borrowed time. Okay? Living on borrowed time, because that's what it is. And that's the same message I was trying to convey with this gentleman out here. When I was trying to convey to him, I'd say, listen, I got a certain amount of electrons that are essentially accounted for through this QI in a biometric account, right? So I have access to these electrons, which I can translate to the things that I go and purchase that I use in order to keep my vibrational level high up here, like pomegranate juice, cherry tart juice, pineapple juice, apple juice, avocados, papayas, mangoes. A lot of those I get out here in the yard. But cucumbers, cilantro, radishes, bell peppers, you know, the good stuff, strawberries, raspberries, all the berry stuff, you know, the higher stuff, organic to the extent to which I can get better stuff, right? Maintain your alkalinity, right? I usually have at least a 12-ounce glass of distilled water, and I put some of that Bob's Red Mill baking soda in there every night, right? That helps. And then, of course, essential oils, and doing what I can. But as I was mentioning to him, is that you realize how this works. I implicitly trust my journey, but my journey can turn on a dime. I could all of a sudden decide, you know what? I'm done doing this. I want a change of landscape, right? And the next thing you know is I'm walking down the road. I could just leave everything here. I've done that many times. Just walked right out and just left it right where it's at. You folks can keep whatever I got because it's not about money and it's not about material stuff, right? So what happens is, and this is what I noticed over time from when I was a child, everything that I ever acquired that was in matter form, material form, is gone. And now we're back to when I was a child where I was giving everything away. Being massless, which means no mass, no density. Zero resistance, as pure as it gets. And that's called rotation. That's the actual spin rotation of your libraries. Getting rid of shit. Because you're still, I unplug, but what it means is you're getting rid of those things that you keep experiencing because you're experiencing what others are holding in their libraries they haven't gotten rid of yet, which are all the simulations within simulations, all within simulations, which are all the fake timelines, which is the phantom timelines that are running through people's consciousness as a result of what's held captive in their fucking libraries. Okay? Now you're into the library buildings. Now you're into library deletions. Now you're into clearing the cache. So this is where it gets a little tricky between QI, artificial intelligence, that's holding shit in memory, what we're getting rid of in memory. But what we actually can do is measure the speed, the core vibration of our soul and our spirit of what we're experiencing in energy. Okay? Less mass, greater speed. Less mass, greater speed. Burning off goo codes that was holding us captive, right? To the binary system. Yep. And so, you know, and so this becomes the measurement. You know, that's why when my hand's going like this, that's why measurement of waves, log scale tables between analog and digital, you know, and how those tables work together. And the way that I measure it on a planetary scale is water distribution tables. Why sound travels through water the way that it does, right? Silent running. Experience the light in your heart and soul. So there's a difference between a leader and a follower. And there's a difference between what we used to call Star Trek blazers, trail blazers. Why is it a blazer? Because it's on fire. Okay, and so I translate that in the same way that I've mentioned this before about what do I got to do to get your energy attention? You got to be vibrating at the same rate of speed, or I'm not going to notice you. What? Yeah, because you're moving too slow. And so the way I translate that would explain that to them. I said, listen, you're baggage. I'm baggage? Yeah, you'd be like running a baggage car on my locomotive. I don't carry baggage. Okay. You see where that is? It lows me down. I'm not getting as much work done when I do that because you're running such lower density consciousness terrain. So that means I'd either have to stop and take the time to heal you and get you up where I'm at because I'm running a high speed vibration, right? And you're not. So imagine I had to do that with everybody that I was measuring going through, 12 million people, for example, in Southern California. Go knock on everybody's door. I'd never be getting anything else done, right? So there are other ways in which we do this together as teams. Okay? So in other words, we know what we're doing. Okay, because we get the comms right through the old heart here. The heart and the soul. The soul knows. The souls know what the truth is. That's called knowing. There's only one pathway. That's what love is. Because that's what it began with. When you're on that pathway, that's called the right pathway. Right-hand path. That's right. The right-hand path. You better believe it. I lead with the right foot. Forward ho. Zip. So when you're mated, man oh man. Now you can pull in all the fragments, right, that have been lost, which are the DNA debris fields, which are lost lines of communication from the original template. That's right, the original Emerald Founder records. So anyway, yeah, there's followers, order followers, right? It's here's another way we can translate this. How's this? If you're on fire to learn as an individual unit of consciousness with a soul and a spirit, and you love to learn, okay? And I mean no disrespect or dishonor to anybody else, so I'm just simply using my own experiences, and then you can translate that however you choose, okay? How do I put this? You know what self-directed learning is? Self-directed learning. When you realize as a child that your soul is running the compass, the gyrodome, okay? So you know that you already have a journey that you're on. So you implicitly trust the spirit that you are with your soul to know the journey that you're on because you're experiencing what love is, okay? And that allows you to be free. And what allows us to be free is to be free to do that, which means I don't allow myself to be held captive by another unit that I'm aware of. That's what pirates do. Psychopaths. Do as thou wilt, right? As if there's no accountability, right? But there is mathematical accountability. Because the math and the fire is built in. That's fail-safe. See, if you're going to build a network, a tree of creation, you would think that the universe of creation would be intelligent enough and creative enough to make sure that what it is that we are creating and as a network of communication, that we'd have a way to protect what it is that we began with out of what love is that goes on forever and wish to do that. And there is. That's why it's impossible for them to get into places where we are. Because the only way that they can be that is to be what we are. And it isn't what we are. And that is the difference between knowing one from the other. So these are chosen pathways. So when you're choosing, and that becomes the chosen pathway, those that are on that pathway know who you are. Because you're experiencing what love is, because that's the pathway you chose to learn through. And the reason for that is self-evident. Love goes on forever. Love is what heals us. To be able to do that by pulling the fragments in. So what I mentioned to this young man is that, listen, if I give you energy, okay, because listen, I spent most of my early life, well, actually all my life, living in love and service to others. That's what I told him. I live in love and service to others. So in reality, I would love to just give you everything I got, okay? But I'm not going to cut off my nose to spite my face because I already know these electrons are already allocated. As if I already know where I'm going to be in the future, what I need to use those electrons for. So therefore, since there is no time, and I give you something, this energy that is translated as money, which is electrons, okay, then that means that unless I gift it to you, it's not going to work for me. Because now I'm held captive to you. Because now it means I have to use a time clock, because you're running on a time clock, because you're living in a black hole. So since you're running on a time clock, that means that if I want you, or if you're going to give me back what it is that I'm giving you as an exchange, I got to wait for you. Okay? And I'm sorry. That's slowing me down. Okay? Now, you're going at a slow vibrational rate of speed because of the things that you're doing to yourself. So if you're going to use the energy that I give you in order to keep you running at a slower rate of speed, then I'm doing that to myself. Okay? Which means I'm doing what I do to you, I do to me. Because that money system is exactly why it was rolled out. Because that whole money system is based on us. We're the creditors with souls. That's why they wear black robes. The dead. They're spiritually dead. They represent fictions, which is an illusion of X. You've got to know one from the other. So if you're allowing your energy, which is your mind, which is your soul's energy, to be held captive by a parasite, which is a black hole entity, then you're going to be running in the black, which means you're going to be running in a hole. And if you can't heal yourself or allow us to heal you, upon which you are feeling good again, your spirit has risen. Your spirit is experiencing more light, which is called a resurrection of crystalline consciousness, liquid light. Now you're experiencing the power of the fire within you. The spirit of fire is in your light, baby. Integrated with your soul. That means you recovered. That's called resurrection. That's right. That's resurrection. You have resurrected your spirit to experience more light connected to your soul, so your soul is awake. Whoa! I'm cutting through all the cobwebs of the lines of communication, which was their nets. Their nets were holding my consciousness down. Now I'm awake. Now I'm experiencing the one. Now I'm experiencing what love is. Ooh, I woke up. Wow, I'm no longer held captive to that. Yeah. And life changes. You begin feeling better about who you are. When we start feeling better about who we are by experiencing more love in our heart, we have restored our connection to the Godspeed vibration. Now you're experiencing God within your own heart, and you realize, hey, there's a boy and a girl in this, so you have become one. Experiencing the one God vibration, being both a male and a female, because you're experiencing the one. Hot and cold magnets fused as one. 1 and 3. 3 and 1. Now you're one with all creation. Now you're experiencing the love that we have for all creations, because that's the energy that we use to create them with. And that's pretty straightforward. And so when you're experiencing eternal love through your own heart, you're on fire. You don't need to follow nobody. Right? You got a built-in Pathfinder. Remember the Pathfinders? See how they invert things? Pathfinders. Yeah. Compass bearing. I got a built-in compass. I got a built-in gyrodome. I got a built-in motherboard. Yeah. No bugs in it. Clean as a whistle. running clean, burning energy. That's as pure as it gets. That's a lot of fire. Psh, going cosmic, baby. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wear that flower crown. Spinning flowers, going pink, mama. Yeah, yeah, yeah.